Well, it has been raining like the dickens all day in Shaco, Mississippi, and I have been unable to record this in my outdoor studio. So I'm coming to you this morning or this afternoon from my cave at the house, Richie's Roost in Shaco. I'm glad we could get together in spite of the weather. And you're going to probably hear some thunder carrying on, but just try to ignore it. And there may be a air conditioner coming on or some strange noise. Just don't worry about them. We'll get through it. Now, last week, I promised to withhold my thoughts on several topics concerning the current state of our country's condition until after the State of the Union address. I really wanted to hear the president's ideas and proposed actions explained to us, but I didn't watch the speech live. I recorded it while I watched the Ole Miss baseball game. But since then, I have played that recording over and over, and the best short description of the speech's content I can come up with: there comes the air conditioner on, just forget about it. The best description I can come up with is fluffy and flaccid, filled with falsehoods and gigantic spending plans advertised to fix inflation, while common sense and some of the best economists in the world argue that such spending would spur further inflation. And I had hopes that during the speech, he'd be man enough to make the simple statement: I made a mistake about stopping the Keystone XL pipeline and curtailing the drilling on government land. We really do need to be energy independent and furnish enough oil and gas to choke off Europe's need for Russian fuels and remove our insane act of purchasing Russian oil to help fund their war machine. But following the invariable rule of a politician rarely admitting mistakes, he didn't say that. He didn't even address it. His pitiful alliance with the group who worship at the altar of climate change mythology precludes common sense actions like depending on oil from the likes of Russia and Iran, who of course would love to see the U.S. dependent on them for our oil. All right, I won't dwell on the oil fiasco, since most everybody who follows the news is aware of the truly stupid actions which have sent gas and oil well north of most people's ability to buy without distress. I will comment here on the omission of the main problem I had hoped he would address. I'm somewhat hesitant to bring up the subject since we already have so many present difficulties, but in my opinion, which I admittedly tend to value very highly, a present crucial danger to our country is present this very hour. Two conditions contribute to this danger. First, our people love to gather. Whether we're at a football game or church meetings, graduation ceremonies, concerts, picnics, or any other such groupings, we value the interactions with friends and family. Second, I think there's no question that some sinister miscreants have crossed our porous southern border. Now, they come from countries, or at least some of them do, come from countries whose twisted views perceive us as the great Satan or other ridiculous threats, and they live in our midst now in what numbers nobody knows. I think probably in the hundreds, since over 2 million illegals have slipped across the border. And these miscreants know how to make bombs. And these two conditions pose the horrific threat to our nation of our people being unable to safely congregate. Any crowd size, from the Sunday morning service at the First Baptist Church of Dallas to the Super Bowl to the Friday night football game at Sicily Island, Louisiana, will be a potential target. I hope that there are plans being made to cope with this threat, but I haven't heard a word about any such plans. I worry, however, that maybe our inept current administration, characterized by its penchant for making imbecilic decisions, could appoint sterling characters like James Comey or John Brennan to plan the solution, or just simply wait for it to happen. Meanwhile, the entry of enemies continues, subsidized by our tax dollars and distributed all over the country. Can you visualize the anger, frustration, and confusion 100 bombs going off at the same time all over the country would cause? Who would be the suspects? Those who look different, or have an accent, or eat strange foods? Well, maybe there are plans to alleviate this threat. Why don't you ask your congressman or your senator or your president? I'm Jim Ritchie, and I'll see you again next time.